Hello, I'm Matt Guff from House.com, and this is a boosted board version 2 with the extended range battery pack. This is an electric skateboard that's designed as a last mile vehicle. Where public transportation can't take you, the boosted board can. It's designed for commuting in the big city, on college campuses, and of course on paved pathways. It has a top speed of 22 miles an hour, a range of 12 miles, and can go up hills that are 25% in grade. There's 4 different riding modes. For beginners, there's eco-friendly, there's expert, and then there's pro. And that means that any ability can actually ride this thing and have a lot of fun. Mashable gave this board an award. It's called the Best of Tech Award. Another award winner is actually the iPhone X and the Amazon Eco 2. So you know the boosted board version 2 of the extended battery pack is a really high piece of technology. It has a modular style construction, meaning that you can take the parts apart. You can actually do your own maintenance and you can swap out parts if you like. And it features a 6-month warranty against manufacturer's defects, which is a great thing. All in all, it's a fun board. It's extremely fast, and we're going to dive into it right now. The boosted board is actually really impressive. It uses a platform of the loaded Vanguard Flex 3 deck. It's a kind of a true twin free riding style shaped board. It has a max weight capacity of 250 pounds. It's kind of has a similar construction to a snowboard actually. Instead of doing horizontal laminates of maple, it actually does vertical laminates of bamboo. There's Triax fiberglass on top of that wood core, Triax fiberglass on bottom of that wood core, and the core has actually been milled out on top of the deck to feed the wires and the cables from the battery pack into the dual motor system, so you actually don't see any cables there. It doesn't have a kick tail, so it's kind of challenging from a stop to kind of like move it with your foot like a traditional skateboard, but it's a longboard. You don't really need to do that because hopefully you'll be riding the whole time. The grip tape up on top is actually kind of like a dual style grip. The front 3/4, which is signified by a little arrow pointing the direction you should be going, is actually just a standard style grip. The bottom quarter, the back quarter is a little bit more aggressive. The trucks are proprietary to, of course, boosted. They're fully adjustable. They have medium style bushings. They sit on about a 1/4 inch style risers. The front truck and the back truck are going to be vastly different because the back truck features the belt drive and of course the dual motors. They have about a 7.5 inch style hanger, about a 10 inch style axle, and they feature great wheels. The wheels are the orangutan 80 millimeter 56 millimeter contact style wheel. So the diameter is 80 millimeters. These are pretty darn big, and at ADA, they're going to be really soft, really grippy, great on a large kind of like scale of terrain choices. A cool, unique thing about it is like inside where the green actually is, that's a heat resistant style urethane. So the wheels aren't going to heat up as much as they normally would and become even softer than they already are. Again, they're super sticky, but watch out when you're riding on wet or kind of like loose style terrain. Because the board is so powerful, it has a tendency in those kind of conditions, gravel, to like kind of kick out, so be very mindful of that. And it does feature an offset style bearing placement. The bearings inside are comparable to what most people would be considered like an ABEX style 5. It's a boosted style bearing. You can swap it out and upgrade if you like, because this whole board is modular. The battery on the boosted version 2 extended battery pack is actually very impressive. A lot of people waited for the version 2 to come out with this, or they ordered it and they kind of sat around for a year waiting for it to happen. These ones actually come with the extended range battery, which gives it a range of 12 miles, which is huge. This is a rechargeable lithium ion battery, of course. It can charge fully from 0 to 100% in less than an hour, but there is like a big deal with like the different style of life that the battery can have. It can factor into basically 3 different things on how long the battery lasts. The rider rate, the rider mode, which is beginner, eco, expert, or pro, and then of course the outside temperature. The colder the temperature, the quicker the battery is going to die. Underneath each truck, there's actually accessory power ports that allow for extra accessories like headlights and taillights to be added on, or anything else. And then of course there's actually regenerative battery braking, which is kind of unique, meaning that when you actually are on a hill and you use the throttle wheel and put it in reverse, it actually is going to charge the battery. And I actually heard of a guy in New York. He was on like a little trip, and he was losing battery. He wanted a little bit more power because he wasn't able to charge it as much as he wanted to. And he'd push, but he also put the throttle in reverse, and that would actually charge it just a little bit. Whenever you go on long distance trips, though, remember to bring your charging cables. It's about 10 feet long. It only weighs like 1.5 pounds. Throw it in your backpack so you can always have it. And remember to bring a micro USB charger to charge the throttle as well, or charge the remote. I've heard of people actually being on long trips, their board is fully charged and they forget to charge their remote, and then they just have to push back with a lot of resistance. The motors on the boosted board version 2 with the extended range battery are pretty impressive. They've actually been upgraded pretty much like from like the front to the back. Each motor actually has 1,000 watts. There's 2,000 watt total, about 2.5 horsepower. This is a brushless style motor. It's going to wear down a lot less. It has rapid acceleration. It has really great torque. So when you're in pro mode and you go from like a dead stop to a like full on, you're actually kind of get pushed in the back seat a lot. So you definitely have to be ready, and that's why there's that aggressive tread on the back section of that grip tape. And then of course there's going to be the belts. The belts are really what drive the motor to spin the wheels. Of course, these belts should be changed out every 200 to 400 miles. They do have kind of like a skid plate that kind of guards from extra wear. But as the skid guards kind of wear down, they can kind of press into the belts. So definitely keep an eye on that. When you have your backpack, when you're out riding, throw a couple belts in there, because it's always just a bad thing when you like bust out a belt. But for the most part, they last a really long time and they stop extremely fast. The boosted board version 2 extended range battery remote is non-stop fun. This is actually what makes this thing really go. It's a rechargeable style battery, has a nice ergonomic style design, and there's basically 3 main kind of buttons or components to it that do different things. The first is the trigger, which has a little bit of play, not much, so make sure that you're always engaging the trigger. That engages the throttle wheel. The throttle wheel does basically 2 things. It accelerates and then either brakes or puts the board in reverse. You can also kind of like change modes with the throttle wheel. That's kind of like an advanced style setting. And then there's a multi-button. The multi-button actually helps you to connect the Bluetooth to the board. It shows the battery life of the remote, and then also shows the connectivity of the Bluetooth, and then of course the battery life of the board. The same kind of dials that you'll see, or lighting indications that you'll see on the battery, are going to be also on the remote. Along with that is the connectivity. The boosted board version 2 is really upgraded with new radios. There's 2 Bluetooth radios, one that goes from the board to the remote, and then one that goes from the board to your phone. The app on the phone is really cool because it displays the battery life of the board, the odometer, the trip distance, and you can actually change the different settings inside the app, which will give you a better idea on how much range you have for the board depending on the rider weight, the terrain style, whether it be flat or super hilly, or the style of riding, just regular cruising or absolutely shredding. One thing to note though with the remote and the app is that you cannot change the rider modes, beginner, eco, expert, and pro. You cannot change those modes while you're riding. You have to come to a complete stop before you can change into a different mode, whether it be up or down. The boosted board version 2 with the extended battery is the world's best electric rechargeable skateboard. It has a 22-mile-an-hour top speed, a 12-mile range, and it can ride up hills up to 25% in grade. This is an aggressive style board that anyone can use because it has 4 different modes: beginner, eco, expert, and pro. Anyone can get on this thing and have a fun time. Just remember to wear a helmet. There's a lot of adjustability. There's a modular style construction, so you can swap parts out and maintain this board yourself. You don't have to send it in. And of course, it's very high powered. It's very, very fast, accelerates really quick, and stops even faster. Make sure to check out the Boosted Board version 2 with the extended range battery that a lot of people have been waiting for at thehouse.com by clicking the link below or just coming into the shop. Leave a comment or a question. Let us know what you think, and hopefully we'll see you guys outside. Peace.